Investment in student accommodation is gaining momentum in Australia. To discuss this trend, we're joined today by David Sinn, the Head of Real Estate for Australia and Asia at Herbert Smith Freehills. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
How would you describe the current state of the Australian student accommodation market and what makes it attractive to international investors?
Well, the current status of the market is one of great interest and increased demand. Why? Because it's a sector that hasn't been the focus of a lot of investment, both locally and internationally over the last few years, despite the fact we've got a growing student population. So with increased student population, particularly within the university sector, there's a need for accommodation. Previously, they've found accommodation through apartment blocks or alternative accommodation, but more and more they're looking for some kind of whole of service offering, and that's where the student accommodation market caters for them, because student accommodation is not just a residential offering, it's more than that. It provides services to the student, but be it tutoring services, be it educational, be it mindfulness, be it sporting endeavours. It provides a centre upon which they can all with a common goal for each of them. So it's a bit like a retirement village. I hate to say that through the sex spectrum, but student accommodation provides a collective where everyone can get together with like minds and be in the same kind of state.
How do deals involving student accommodation compare with other property transactions?
Look, student accommodation is an extension of the property industry. It's one of the alternative asset classes. Yes, everyone knows about the commercial market, the industrial market and the residential market. It's just an extension of the residential market. It's an alternative asset class. It's no different to a health sector or something like that. What it does though is not only is it a property play, but it's an operational play. So particularly for the foreign investors, not only do you get the advantage of potentially capital upside on your investment, but you have a long-term operating asset, because as I said before, these are businesses. They're not just homes where people live in, they are businesses where people operate in. So from an investor's perspective, it gives you the dual aspect of not only the property income, but also the operating income to generate your overall return from.
What are some of the unique challenges that investors in this sector face?
Well, from an investor's perspective, the challenges are really around the supply and demand equation. From a supplier's perspective, they rely on the universities being close and being able to supply students to live in the accommodation. You can't have an accommodation facility 10 kilometres away from the university or a university sector. You need to have it close. You need there to be demand within the university sector for more students, and particularly foreign students as well, to be coming to our shores. On the demand side, obviously you want students to be using your accommodation. The interest within the sector at the moment is we're seeing a lot of alternative providers and a lot of providers coming to the marketplace with different offerings. And so you've got to make sure that your offering is cutting edge and is providing the level of services that are required by the students.
What is the outlook for the student accommodation market, and how does this compare with other areas of the Australian property market?
At the moment, the student accommodation market is booming, and the projected growth within the area is double digit. Compared to, say, in the other sectors like the commercial, industrial sectors, you'd be looking at 5-6% growth. We're looking at double-digit growth in the student accommodation sector, purely because there is just a high demand for this product within the marketplace. And as I said before, the ability to combine not only the property asset of it, but also with the operating income provides a very attractive yield for investors going forward. So the demand and the growth for the sector is strong at the moment, but like any sector, it will have its point upon which it gets oversaturated. But at the current point in time, double-digit growth, and there's a lot of demand. There's a lot of projects that are being put out there by universities to provide more student accommodation, and that's attracting existing and new players to the market.
Thank you for your time today.
Thank you.